everyone, it's Enjoy English School. Today is October 4th. We're on pages 10 and 11. It's day 2 of our hiking story called The Mountains Are Calling.
那我们今天10月4号在第11页，我们要接续昨天的主题，台湾登山热，全民一起疯登山。
Now, Minnie, you were saying before our video started that there's another way we can say something is calling.
That nature's calling.
That's right. When nature calls, that means you want to go to the bathroom. I don't know why nature calls you that way. Like, this, yeah, right?
因为你尿尿不是你自己可以控制的事情啊，所以你自然而然被叫啊，你可以控制。
I'm pretty good at controlling it, yeah.
You will burst if you can.
I mean, you don't hold it forever, right? But when nature calls, it means you want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, 因为你就是有一个想尿尿的感觉，那个是自然发生的啊。
I guess nature's call. I mean, but you don't have to answer that call when people call you, right? Like, I'm not going to answer that phone, right? Nature calls, well, I'm busy. I got to wait, right? Especially as a teacher. Like, ask your teachers. You know, there's a lot of times where you're like, I can't go. I got to watch this crazy student in my classroom.
I'll just let them be crazy for like a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You will be amazed at the problems kids can make in 1 minute you turn around.
I mean, they have to learn. They have to grow up.
Like, wow. All right, let's jump into our story. Well, let's read our story. And then when we come back, we got paragraph 1.
The mountains are calling. As hiking becomes more popular, there are also more hikers who meet difficulties and risks on the trails. There are a few important safety preparations to make before you go out on a trail. The most important thing is to let other people know where you are. It's a great idea to join a hiking group with an experienced leader. Even if you decide to go alone, tell a friend or family member about your plans. That way, if you don't return on time, they will know where to look for you. It's also important to wear proper clothing. You should choose something that is brightly colored and covers your whole body for protection from the sun and the sharp or poisonous plants that can be found along the trails. Always carry a flashlight and an extra power bank for your smartphone. In the event that you do get lost, try to climb up to a ridge so that you will be visible from above. With a little preparation and planning, you can enjoy your hikes and return home safely every time.
So it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but hiking had to be invented. It wasn't something that people have always done. In the past, when people were going for long walks, they almost always did it because they had a reason.
所以老师说，其实 hiking 啊，登山这个事情是需要被 invented， 需要被创造的哦。所以呢，你要去走这个这么长的路，一定是 for a reason， 一定是有一个原因在。
That's right. Especially in the past, there were a lot of times you could not leave your town. If you left your town and you wanted to go to a new place, they wouldn't let you in the city. They don't know why you left your town and why you want to come in here. Maybe you did something bad in your old town. We don't want you here. You're a criminal.
所以老师说，在以前的时候，如果一个人他要搬到比较远的地方去，别人可能会不接受，因为你会需要搬得这么远，逃离你原本的地方，你有可能是一个 criminal， 你有可能是一个犯罪的罪犯。
That's right. In fact, only a few people would ever leave their towns, and they would only do it for a very few reasons. For example, maybe you were a trader, you were a business person, or maybe you were going on what's called a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage is when you walk to a holy place where something amazing happened.
所以你要长期这样子迁徙，有可能会是因为有一个贸易的用处，或者是你要去朝圣。
That's right. A pilgrimage, that's this walk where you go to like a church or a holy place, is Pilgrimage, pilgrimage. And the person is called a pilgrim. 就是那个 age 你去掉这样子。So when you were just walking around in the past, maybe you loved to go to the mountains. Maybe you loved to go hiking. It was very dangerous because basically, if you were a criminal, they would kick you out of a city. And the only people just walking for fun were basically criminals or homeless people.
游民或者是罪犯，他才会这样子，到处漫无目的的到处乱走。
Maybe you were a hunter, but then you always went back to the city. You always had a job, and so it's kind of a weird thing. But think about it: when you go for a hike, you are doing something very unique in history.
所以当你去登山，你去健走的时候，其实是一件非常特别的事情。
That's right. Now let's jump into our article. As hiking becomes more popular, there are also more hikers who meet difficulties and risks on the trails.
那随着登山越来越受欢迎，也有更多的登山客在山径中遭逢困难或者是风险。
That's right. We said the word risks. That's very tricky when we have that S, K, S, risks. It's probably a word you have to practice saying to say it really fluently.
那风险加上 S， 这个 K 跟 S 加在一起的字是需要练习的 risks.
And let's continue. There are a few important safety preparations to make before you go out on a trail.
那在你出发前往登山的这个山径前，有一些重要的安全措施是你可以先行准备。
Pick up your highlighters. The preposition for a trail is on the trail. Make sure you highlight on a trail. Don't say in a trail. Now, if we say we are at a trail, it just feels like 就是一般. Hey, 你在哪里? Hey, I'm on the trail. Or you're saying I'm at the trail. Usually that's the start.
所以通常我们用 trail 就是这个登山健行的路径的时候，我们会用 on 这介系词。但是如果你要强调说你在哪里，你的地点所在地的话，有时候会用 at。
小心 for preparations, it's 那个发音有 er, 对不对? Preparations, but 这个有 ar. You might want to circle that with your pencil or pen because that ar, so many students spell it wrong. Lots of Americans spell that wrong too.
所以 prepare 这个字它变成 preparation 的时候，它是 pre 然后 par， 这个很容易拼错。
That's right. Lots of people spell that wrong. 小心。The most important thing is to let other people know where you are.
那你去爬山最重要的事情是你要让其他人知道你的所在地。
That's right. It's a great idea to join a hiking group with an experienced leader.
那参加一个具有丰富经验，这边丰富经验我们就直接翻成说 with an experienced 这个字就可以了。那要具备丰富经验的向导啊。然后参加这个登山队会是一个不错的主意。
If you play video games, you know this word. You know, like if you kill a monster, you get EXP. You get those points. That's right. That EXP just means experience.
经验的意思。
Even if you decide you choose to go alone, tell a friend or family member about your plans.
那即使你决定要独自出发，告诉一个友人、你的朋友或者是你的家人你的登山计划。
You know what this makes me think of? Like, I saw this video a couple weeks ago. When you go hiking, usually you try to be really quiet because you are going to where animals live and they hear a lot of people. If you're noisy, it kind of scares them. They feel very uncomfortable. So kind of, I would say, like Joanie, professional hikers try to be very quiet, except when they go into what's called bear country.
如果你是通常我们去爬山的时候会想办法把自己的声量压低，不想要引起就是那个野生动物的注意。但是如果 except 除非你是去一个 bear country 有熊的出没的地方。
That's right. If you go to a place where there are bears and we know bears live there, you don't want to be quiet because the worst thing you can do is you're walking and oops, I see a bear. That bear sees you and that bear is going to kill you. That bear will be very angry. Yeah. So you have to tell the bear you're there. And so when you go to bear country, you are supposed to make noises. You want to have a bell, binga, binga, binga on your bag. And you want to say, hey, bear, hey, bear. That's the way most people actually will say. They're just walking around saying, hey, bear, hey, bear.
真的哦?
Yes.
一边走一边讲说，熊，我在哦，不好意思哦，打扰咯。
That's right. So the bear can hear you and the bear is ready for you because you get closer and closer. So I was watching a video on the internet and a man is walking around, hey, bear, and then he sees a bear.
And then what?
So the bear is not in a good mood. So that's the problem with bears. They can have very bad moods. And so the bear starts running at the man. He's like, hey, bear, He keeps trying to say, hey, bear, like the bear is going to turn around. He's like climbing a tree. Hey, bear, hey, bear. The bear keeps following him.
Well, the video is uploaded, so he's fine, right?
Yeah, he was fine. But man, it was funny. Like, just his like, hey, bear, hey, bear, hey, bear, hey, bear. And this bear was, he was looking real angry. So, but he did not become bear food, so he's okay. All right, let's continue with our sentence here. So we were talking about if you go alone. That way, if you don't return on time, they, your friends or family, will know where to look for you.
那我们前面有讲到说，即使你要一个人去，你还是要跟你的朋友、家人说嘛，因为 that way 如此一来，倘若你无法准时归来，他们也知道要到哪里去找你。
Okay, this is probably a good point to pause the video after my question. You can ask yourself this. What's the worst color to wear when you go hiking?
去爬山的时候最糟糕穿的颜色是什么
3, 2, 1. Any ideas?
Black.
This wall. Look at this wall right here.
Agreed.
That's the worst color. So if something happens to you, if you fall off a mountain or you go somewhere,
别人看不到你。
no one can see you. That's why when you go to like the store to buy like hiking stuff, it's always like really
所以
bright
不要穿迷彩装去爬山。
You don't want to wear like regular, you want to wear like really bright colors.
But
Don't wear
bright
something
colors like attract like bees and that kind of things as well.
stupid. I mean, well, as long as you're not attracting a bear, right? That's you'll be like, hey bear,
Okay.
hey bear man. So wear a color that is easy to see. It shouldn't look too natural. Now hunters, of course, try to wear these colors, so please be careful. But usually they also have a very bright orange hat. So be careful of that. All right. When we come back, we will begin paragraph something part 2. All right, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. At paragraph 1, we talked about how pretty much only criminals, poor people, and homeless people went hiking in the past. This actually changed, and you could see it in our art, especially European art, about 200 years ago.
大概200年前，我们可以看到说登山的这种趋向改变了。以前可能只有 homeless 啊、游民是无所事事的人、犯罪人会做这种远的迁移，但现在改变了。
So why did it change? Well, this was during the Romantic period. 对，就是浪漫的那个
浪漫主义。
Ooh la la, right? The Romantic period. Because think of what was happening in cities. 200 years ago, we start to have very dirty, noisy factories. More people start to live in cities, and so they were crowded, and it was very dirty. People couldn't really, like we said, nature calls. They couldn't get rid of their poop and pee easily, and so cities became really, really dirty. And these people said, remember like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, the world was very natural. We miss that. And so this Romantic period, kind of 主罪, they rejected all this modern life, and they started to enjoy and paint and hike just to get away from how nasty cities were.
所以大概在200年前工业开始进步的时候，我们的人都迁徙到这个 cities 城市。那城市变得很脏乱，所以这个浪漫主义兴起的时候，大家就会想要做一些跟你在城市里面做的事情不一样的事，所以就会更想要向往一些自然啊，向往以前无毒无菌的地方啊，所以才开始会有所谓的爬山当作是休闲这种活动。
That's exactly right. These were the first modern hikers. These were the first people to just accept nature as something more than just like a place. It was like, wow, this is really beautiful and special. So it's pretty interesting. So I don't actually like this 浪漫主义 period. I don't really like this period, but I really like this story. I understand why they did this. So, okay, let's go to
那
our
山里面有浪漫吗？
Sure, yeah. Think like you say you walk with your husband. It's kind of hand in hand, arm in arm,
But
right?
we can
Just a
also
little-
walk in the city like
I mean,
that.
right, but think of like Taipei, Xinyi,
没有，我
and then think
我觉得
of like
信义比较浪漫晚上很浪漫啊。
okay, so that's today. Think of like 200 years ago. Like think of how dirty
刚
factories were.
启
That's right.
动的时候，哦，
Cities, you didn't have toilets. You didn't have sewers. You had buckets full of, like at night, you would poop and pee in the toilet, your whole family. And then in the morning, you threw it in the streets. It would like poo and pee was everywhere. It was really dirty. You would put dead bodies in rivers. It was a really dirty place. Cities were disgusting. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting.
我觉得观众应该跟我一样都没有什么共鸣，因为我们现在 信义区太浪漫了。
So, so in the past, it's probably dirty. That's why. 从那个时候就开始了。That's right. Okay, let's continue here. It's also important to wear proper clothing.
所以要穿着合适 proper 合适的服装也非常的重要。
The right kind of clothing.
不要穿绿色。
Yeah. You should choose something that is brightly colored and covers your whole body for protection from the sun and the sharp or poisonous plants that can be found along the trails.
那你应该要选择穿亮色，而且可以包覆你全身的衣服，来保护你不受伤，然后不受阳光或山径中可能出现尖锐或有毒的植物的这种伤害。
When we're kids, our parents will often tell us they say leaves of 3, let it be. So 你找到一个植物 if it has 3 leaves, don't touch it. Let it be. 不要碰。为什么？ There are some poisonous plants. Poison ivy. It makes your skin very itchy and uncomfortable. And it has 3 leaves. Now, not every plant with 3 leaves has poison or is poisonous, but poison ivy does. 所以 if you don't know what poison ivy looks like, just count 3 leaves. Okay, 我不要碰这个。
是我们常春藤的 ivy 吗？
Poison ivy, that's right. Maybe like if I make a mistake, it becomes poison ivy.
3叶的常春藤不要碰，因为有毒。就像尖头的蛇不要碰，有毒。
Yeah. I remember The Simpsons, the cartoon from the past.
辛普森
That's right. And they said, leaves of 3, let it be. And Homer said, leaves of 4, eat some more.
那个就是 marijuana.
That's right. Well, they were saying, don't do that. Like, I remember my mom and dad telling me, you can't do that. You can eat something
Don't
terrible.
ever let your kids watch Simpsons.
Yeah. It's, yeah, when you're a kid, like, you're just like, did you ever just, like, pick a plant and just eat it off the ground?
No.
Really?
I'm a city girl.
Really? I used to do that when I was a kid, just eat some plant and see what it was like.
Oh.
And it's some terrible tasting stuff.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we have our final part. All right, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We are on pages 10 and 11, and we're on our final paragraph here. Now, we have some more advice for when we go hiking. Always carry a flashlight and an extra power bank for your smartphone.
那记得总是带上一把手电筒 flashlight， 还有多带一个供智慧型手机备用的行动电源。
Now, don't think you can just use your flashlight on your cell phone. That's good for like if you're in a tent or for like a small place, like you're really close. But if you have to walk through like a cave or a tunnel, your flashlight is not going to help you. It's just not that strong. Even a very strong cell phone flashlight, you need like a hand one.
所以老师刚刚有特别讲，不要想说啊，我带手机就有手电筒啦，那个照不远啦。所以如果你真的要经过什么 tunnel 啊、隧道等等的，还是真的要真的手电筒才够照得远。
You know, the last time I went to America, I bought like a super strong flashlight because a couple times in Taiwan, we had typhoons and we lost power. And I bought this sucker. It will light up a whole room. It's boom, it's super bright. And since I bought that, guess what? We've never had like a big typhoon and reduce electricity. My wife is like, this is such a waste, get rid of it. And I'm like, no, one day we will use it. I love this thing though. Like I like going just really bright and like flashes too. And, yeah,
Don't flash it on your cat.
That's my flashlight story. Okay, let's go. In the event, this just means if. In the event that you do get lost, try to climb up to a ridge so that you will be visible from above.
所以这边 in the event that 可以画起来，它其实就是要是点点点，或者是如果点点点。所以这句话说，如果要是你真的迷路了，试着往上走到山脊，这样才可以从上方看到你。
That's right. Now, a ridge, just like Minnie was saying, we'll use a little English here. It's where all those little mountains kind of come together and they make like a line you can walk on. That's if you're really, really lost. Usually you don't have to worry about that much. But if you're like really high in the mountains and things are dangerous, that's a good place to get caught. But there's a lot of wind up there and there's a lot of UV from the sun. You want to be careful.
Yeah.
With a little preparation and planning, you can enjoy your hikes and return home safely every time.
只要做一点准备以及计划，你就可以享受登山的乐趣，而且每次都安全回家。
So if you have to stay out overnight, Okay, this is pretty serious. I actually really, really mean this. No joking here. If you get lost and you need to stay overnight in the mountains, what's the most important thing you can do?
Keep yourself warm.
Keep yourself warm. Now, this sounds pretty easy. It's like, okay, I'll just wear my jacket, right? But there's one thing a lot of people forget, your butt. So the ground will never get warm. And if you ever sit like on a forest ground without a chair, you could just feel it's cold and it's wet. And overnight, it's just going to suck your heat out of your body. And that's how people die. So let's say you do get lost. What you want to do is get some big leaves, get branches from trees, anything. Make a little fluffy bed. Animals do this in nature too. They know not to sleep on the ground. Your dog knows not to sleep on your ground. Our cats know. Don't sleep on the ground unless it's really hot. If you sleep on the cold ground, you have a very high chance of what's called hypothermia. You're going to lose heat and you could die. So make that bed.
所以老师这边给大家一个很重要的 survival 的建议，就是如果你真的不小心要在外面过夜，一定要记得你的屁股不要直接坐到地板，因为那个湿气都在那边。你一定要找一些大的叶子啊，或者一些树干等等的，弄一个很漂亮、很舒服的巢，然后让自己远离那个地湿，然后你才有办法可以就是不要失温，然后才有办法可以撑到隔天早上。
Now, what's another good place to wait for rescue? Well, a river. Because let's say you're not high in the mountains, there's no mountain ridge, maybe you're in another country. Why would waiting by a river be good? Well, number one, you could drink water if you need to. Number two, it's usually easy to have a lot more open space there because the trees won't grow over the river. You can be seen there. So you have your little whistle, you have your bed, and you can start making noise.
所以老师说第二个这个 survival 的建议就是你可以去找一个河流。如果你没有这个山脊可以找，你就找在河旁边。第一，你有水源可以喝水；第二，有水源的地方比较不会有遮蔽物。
That's right. Those trees will grow over the top. They can't see you. But a river, it doesn't always grow there, and so it's a good place to be seen. 除非你在亚马逊啊。
Yeah.
Don't go there. All right. Let's get ready for our vocab review. Okay, it's time for vocab review. Our first word is a noun and a verb, risk.
那我们第一个字是它可以当动词，可以当名词，但我们在这边是名词，是风险的意思。
That's right. And remember, the plural is risks. Number two, preparation.
Preparation 是一个名词，代表说事前准备。
And the verb is to prepare. That AR is a lot easier to hear in the verb. Number three, experienced.
是一个形容词，代表说有经验的，富有经验的。
Number four is to return.
是一个动词，代表说你回来、归来的意思。
Number five is protection.
Protection 呢是名词，代表说保护。
Number six is a flashlight.
Flashlight 也是一个名词，代表手电筒。
Number seven is a great little phrase. In the event that.
那这个我们第七个 in the event that 是一个非常好的一个写作文的时候可以用的，就代表说假如、如果、要是点点点。
It sounds a lot fancier and it sounds rarer than if. That's right. And number eight is visible. You can see it.
Visible 就是可看见的，我们就叫 visible。那如果是不可看见、隐藏，叫 invisible。
That's right. IN plus visible. Now, we want to hear your hiking tips. Do you have any good ideas? One more for you, a little bit that's convenient. Draw a little map of your backpack. If you go hiking for a long time, if you draw a little map, it's going to help you remember where important things are. And it's a lot easier for you to kind of repack your bag because you know you practiced at home.
所以老师说的这个 map 不是指地图哦，是指说你的包包里面有什么东西的一个示意图。这样如果你把东西拿出来，你还可以再放回去，而且还可以确保说你没有遗忘任何的东西。
The worst thing you can do is start ripping your bag up and having to repack it. Maybe it's raining really hard and your stuff gets wet, water is wet, and it's heavy. That's big trouble.
尤其是如果你就是很紧急的时候，把所有东西拿出来要放回去的时候，还有就是what was I gonna say?
You were gonna say about how you're gonna tell us your hiking trip tips. What's your favorite place to go hiking? Tell us your tips for hiking or surviving in the wilderness down in those comments. We want to hear them.
对，你的登山经验，你怎么样可以安全登山？告诉我们，不要告诉我们你都不登山哦。 那是我的答案。
I was going to say that's a Minnie answer. I don't go hiking. All right. Well, with that, we are done today at Enjoy English School. I am Chris Gorski.
I am Minnie.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.